to walk you through how to turn in this first Zybooks lab for the priority encoder. All right, so there's some quirks here. I hope this is not too hard, and I don't think it is, but it's hard to explain, so I wanted to just walk you through it with a video. All right, so the first thing I would do is I would open up two windows to your Zybooks. All right, and the reason for that is that later on when we click a link in the Zylabs portion of the textbook, it jumps straight to that link and you lose your spot in the book. All right, so what we want to do here is we're looking at the priority encoder lab, so that's in chapter 7. Click on the Thompson modification, and here you go. This is the lab we're working on. All right, so I'm going to pull that up in both places. All right, the Thompson modification. All right, so you'll have this to be able to read, and then what I want you to do is go to this link because I have things set up on something called an EDAPlayground. So you're going to have to make a login for that, and once you have that and log in, you can click on this link, and it should take you to a test bench that looks like this. All right, so you can tell it's working if you see, I'm going to slide this down a little bit. If you see test bench and then 8 to 3 test bench and 4 to 2 test bench and then two different designs, priority encode behave and then priority encoder 8. All right, so let me walk you through some of the quirks of this. All right, this is a test bench side of EDAPlayground. Oh, and by the way, I had to run this twice. The first time I clicked on the link, the EDAPlayground was empty, and I think it has to do with the way that I logged in. And so if that happens to you, simply log into EDAPlayground, click the link again, and I think it should come up in the right spot. All right, so what I have set up in EDAPlayground is a couple of design files for the 4 to 2 priority encoder case. All right, so this is one that's a behavioral simulation like we talked about in class, and this one is the structural simulation where it's made out of AND gates and OR gates to implement a priority encoder. All right, so your task for this lab is to extend this. Instead of a 4 to 2, I want to go 8 to 3. All right, now one quirk is I named this module already priority encode 8. All right, meaning 8 to 3. All right, but this particular code is for priority encode 4 to 2. All right, and the reason I did that is because you're going to end up downloading these files, and I wanted this to be named correctly to go into Zybooks. All right, so I wanted to explain that little quirk. All right, so as you write this, you're going to want to test it within EDAPlayground because that way you can tell if it's working before you drop it into the assignment. All right, so I've already got this set up for the 4 to 2 case, and I've chosen my test bench by using comment lines on the include side. So you have this test bench tab, and then you have two different test bench files that can show up in these tabs. All right, the first one is the test bench that I've already given you, and so when I run this, it's including this 4 to 2 test bench. When I run, you should get some results, and the results should show that this is working right. Okay, so you can tell it's working right if you check a couple of test cases. So the first case, 0001, all right, that's the lower bit, all right, and so the code should be 1 coming out. I'm sorry, code should be 0 coming out for that first condition, all right, and then because it's bit 0 that's turned on. All right, remember, if you have all zeros, you don't have any request on the input line, you still get the code 0 coming out, but the line Z goes to 0. Remember, Z can be thought of as got something. So the difference between these two cases is I don't have any priority requests here. Here I've got a priority request in the 0 index position, so the code should be 0. All right, take another test case here. Like this particular case, I've got 3 requests on bit position 0, 1, and 2. All right, so I would expect the code to end up being 2 with the output Z being 1. All right, so your task is to extend this to 8 to 3. All right, I provided you a test bench. So the way you would invoke that test bench is you would comment out the previous test bench. Okay, so I can comment that out and then run this test bench. Okay, it's going to generate errors because we haven't modified the code. All right, so hopefully you get the idea. All right, so when you're done, I'd already clicked this. When you're done, you want to export this priority encode 8.v. You can click this button, this checkbox here, and then when you run, it'll generate, I'm just going to do it again, it'll generate a zip file that you can download to your downloads folder. So I click on this zip file, and you'll see here's the result, and I click here. This is the file that you need to download to the Zybooks. All right, so you download the Zybooks. You can do that by dragging that file here, and then once you drag it, let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to drag that file. I need the file to drag. Wrong directory. It's in my downloads. I know you can't see what I'm doing here because I'm off the screen, but I now grab this file and I drop it into here, and then I can hit submit for grading. Okay, it's not going to do very good because this hasn't been modified. It's the 4 to 2 case. All right, so that's the process. Once you get it working right, you hit submit for grading, and it should give you it'll run through all the test cases, the 256 combinations, and give you credit if your code is working correctly. All right, so I know it seemed complicated to explain, but really it wasn't very hard to go through. Hopefully you'll go through that and feel the same way. It's just a matter of generating code from EDAPlayground and dropping it into Zybooks. All right, so let me know if you have any questions about this process, and we'll check in from there.